Okay, welcome to another grab bag. Dizzy and the Champ with you, and we're going to start out with our first record, which is Wayne Newton. Now, this is the only Wayne Newton album I have, and I can't say I've listened to it a whole lot. It had "Daddy, Don't You Walk So Fast," but I thought Dizzy might have some thoughts about Wayne Newton. I know he started out with Donka Shane back in the 50s, I think, or early 60s. I'm going to say 50s because I think I saw him on, later on a, what's his guy's name?
Jackie Gleason?
Jack Benny. But thanks, so you got the Jack. So he probably was on Jackie Gleason as well. But he was singing Donka Shane, and that was his first big one. And he was a young man at that point, very young man.
I think he started with his brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he did. And I think the initial break into the music business was with his brother, and that, for whatever reason, became a solo act. And I first saw him on the Jackie Gleason show, like you saw him on Jack Benny, singing alone. And that was a big, big, big hit. But what I learned over time was, from seeing videos of his Las Vegas show, is he played many instruments, including the violin. And he would get into some country stuff where you got a fast violin thing going, or he could even play classical music. I mean, this man knew the violin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know he's quite a showman.
Right.
I mean,
right.
he had that Vegas act for years and years and years.
You know, it doesn't hurt to have a lot of talent, and I'm not going to not say he shouldn't get his due, because he had a lot of talent.
Do you think he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, I don't think he ever got in that genre. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Keep him out of that. But
other
than Donka Shane, I don't think we could come up with another major hit. Yeah. But what he was good at promoting himself, and he became what some people called Mr. Las Vegas, and he deserved it, because for a lot of years, it didn't matter what casino he was at, he was packing them in. And he was one of the first performers that I remember who could not only sell tickets and sell a ticket that included a backstage pass.
Oh.
And you got like 3 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And he'd be outside his dressing room, and they'd have a guard.
Did you go to one of these shows? How do you know this?
Yeah. And they would let, if it was a mother and daughter, or if it was a whole family, or if it was a husband and wife, or just a single fan, they would let him in groups, and he'd be back there, and he'd have his arms wide open with a big grin, give them all a hug, autographs, and you felt, wow, this man delivered on the package.
Yeah.
Front row seats or thereabouts, and backstage passes. And I remember the Beach Boys would allow you to go backstage, but that would be just to walk up to a table, and they would quickly sign an autograph, and next, please.
Yeah.
And you're out of the line and back out in front. This was really like a welcoming and really pressing the flesh, and you could ask him questions if you could do it in 3 minutes.
That's a good point. With the point, how about The Point, which is Harry Nilsson. This was more like a children's record that he did.
Sure looks like
but,
it, too.
It had the big hit, Me and My Arrow, Straighter Than Narrow. Wherever we go, everyone knows it's me and my arrow. Aren't you glad I didn't sing it? So, don't be that thankful. Gee whiz.
Just stick to the horn.
I always enjoyed Harry Nilsson. Another one that I think I got into in college, a little after most of his material. I think it was, and he did. I feel like he did something with the Monkees as well. But he had a nice writing ability and nice arranging and all that. Unfortunately, he was a serious alcoholic. But he had a lot of great hits. Everybody's Talking Without her, one, I guess the Lord must be in New York City. Me and my arrow, coconut. I'm pretty sure is that. Put the lime in the coconut. Yeah. Without you, jump into the fire, spaceman. Remember Christmas as time goes by, daybreak. But you can dig deep into Harry Nilsson, and you'll find some interesting material. I mean, there was some stuff that was less interesting. I mean, he did some things with Ringo Starr, and it's at that time, might have been getting more into the bottle than into the music. But there's no saying he wasn't a great arranger and composer of pop songs. He knew how to write them, and he did. He did. I think this is a particular favorite of some people, Son of Schmielchen, and a little bit of a character there, he had some great people around him as well. Trying to look here, Nicky Hopkins on piano on this one, and Laurel George on guitar, Jim Price, Bobby Keys, Klaus Vorman. I mean, these are classic 70s artists that backed up other musicians. I'm thinking of Mad Dogs and Englishmen.
Oh yeah.
Those guys are all involved there. A little touch of Schmielchen. If you're looking for an artist that you can dig deep into, Harry is definitely one of them. Here's the one they did with John Lennon. But I can't say too much good about this one, just because, it's with John Lennon. You'd think this would be wonderful, but not so much. Not so much. They're both, drinking and having a good time and not really doing that much.
I can tell you
material.
this, that I've heard many, many reviews of that record, and they're in agreement. All the reviewers kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
But it is, for those who want a complete John Lennon discography,
yeah,
a must.
That's one of the things.
That's about it.
Right. And this is an early one where early time. So these are things that maybe didn't actually make record back in the day, but you can hear those beginnings of his artistry and composing, of putting a nice song together. And he definitely had an art into putting songs together and making a nice pop tune. And I really enjoy him. I really enjoy him.
Is that the last one?
That's the last one of Harry Nilsson. Yes.
You're missing one. Dracula.
There's one called Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I might have to dig some more.
Yep.
I don't know if I want to dig anymore. That's a lot of.
He's dressed as Dracula on the cover.
Well, we had one like that. That Son of Schmielchen was like that. Do you?
No, that's not the cover. I saw it.
This is not the cover.
No.
That's not the
No,
cover.
it's a big.
He's not dressed as Dracula.
Big, more or less headshot.
Uh-huh.
And it's in a square, and it's all black around it, and it says just one word on the cover, usually Dracula.
Okay, well, that's something for me to look for. Although my
Well,
wife
I
would
like to
like
give
me
you
not
something
to look for it.
At your age, you need something to look for. Do not feel bad about that.
Okay, all
I
right.
can't know everything.
All
Leave
right.
that to me.
This is interesting. So here we have an album from a
Wow,
soundtrack.
we jumped.
A soundtrack, Zigzag.
I haven't seen this, and I love Oliver Nelson.
That's it. I know we've talked a little bit about Oliver Nelson in the past, and so this has a little Oliver Nelson on it. But I'm just noticing on this, his vocalist is Bobby Hatfield, which is the guy from Righteous Brothers, right?
It is.
So he has Bobby Hatfield on one of the tunes, and on another one he has vocals by Roy Orbison. So
This could be a real collector's item, though.
kind of an.
I would
interesting
love
one.
to look this up and to see what this is valued at. It's not on a jazz label. I usually stay completely away from any jazz record on MGM.
Well, yeah. Well, this is movies, right? Movies
I
soundtrack.
still would stay away from an MGM record that's on jazz. But
Well,
this could be the exception.
This might not be jazz. I mean, he might have gone another direction here with this.
Well,
Oliver
it's a
Nelson did-
soundtrack. We have
It's a soundtrack,
Soundtrack. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I like a lot of his music, even when he was arranging for other kinds of artists.
Well, we should mention that Oliver Nelson's record, Blues and the Abstract Truth, by most jazz critics, is rated the #1 all-time jazz recording. If for nothing else, that's quite an achievement when you're stacked up against John Coltrane, Miles Davis, and Thelonious Monk and the like.
Yeah, that is something. So here we got one, Lee Oscar, a harmonica player. He, I think, lives up in north of Seattle somewhere. And
I think you're absolutely right, because he plays a lot of times in Seattle, or he even goes
yeah, he goes a little further.
far north and is playing in small local clubs up
Right.
there.
Well, it's better than traveling into the East Coast or something for
Well,
a one night gig.
Are you going to mention what famous group he was with and who he's associated with?
I believe it was War.
Absolutely, and it was on a record where it was Eric Burden and War, and Lee Oscar was the harmonica player. And
Is that where he declares war?
he declares war. And he didn't stay with the group all that long. I wouldn't know the exact years that he was there, but he left fairly quickly from that band. Now, that band did not need to dwell on keeping him as a harmonica player, because it was much bigger than a harmonica player with War.
Okay, here we got another interesting record. This is Cooper Sessions. Al Cooper introduces Shuggie Otis. Now, I don't know if people know this, but Dizzy here knows a lot about Shuggie, but also about his father. So
Johnny Otis, sure.
So what do you have about this record? Do you is this one you have?
I've heard it, but when I heard it, I said to myself, Dizzy, this is not for you.
Oh,
Yeah. Now, a lot of these records are what we call jam records, and I am not a fan of just jamming and putting out a record where we show up, at a recording studio and we kind of go, hey, what would you like to do? Oh, well, I got a suggestion. Here's how this goes. You think you could add something to that? And he goes, yeah, sure, I'll back you up. Here's something I got. And at the end, we have a recording. And it's in the studio, slam, bam, thank you, ma'am, and we're gone. And I feel that's what this is. Now, some people love that. They love
yeah,
it,
no,
'cause
I like jams. I like good
yeah,
jams.
it's kind of, if you're having a party or you're going around the house and working and doing other things, and you go, this is great. But for me, sitting back on the couch and listening to it, I go, I got something stronger.
Now, Super Sessions, you don't feel that way about.
No, I
They're
do
more
like
organized.
Super Sessions, but
Was that
I
Al Cooper
have to
also?
believe Super Sessions, because Super Sessions has Season of the Witch.
Yeah. That's
And when I heard Season of the Witch, I go, hey, there's an arrangement. And
Yeah.
we both like arrangements, because arrangements take practice.
good. Right.
We both know that. Again, Champ here is in 2 different bands. One's a complete orchestra, 60 members or
It's
so.
not an orchestra. No, we have no violins, but it's just a concert band. But
So
Disney
you've
always
gotta-
likes to try to build this up, but-
Yeah, but you practice for 3 months and then give
Uh-huh.
a show.
yes.
Right. So
Okay.
we know that more goes into
Right.
arrangements.
Oh, right. But I think of let me think if I think of the name of the band right now. Blind Faith. There we go. They had a deluxe version of their one album, right? That came out somewhere, probably in the 2000s, and it had the reel-to-reel tape, and some of these songs just ended because the tape ran out. But it's just a jam. But I'm sorry, I like those jams. I loved all that material, and so I have my CD of that. super what are they, deluxe version of that Blind Faith record. And here's another Sugar Otis.
That's the one to have. That's the one that people
Freedom Flight.
Seek out, and to many people it's considered in the blues genre a classic.
Now he has Strawberry Letter 23. Is that the same one
I couldn't tell you.
Brothers Johnson did?
Couldn't
It seems
tell you.
like, why would you name it the same?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It seems like that's really would be odd.
He played with his dad's orchestra, which was an orchestra. I mean, in the sense that Johnny Otis, what he did, if you never experienced it, I saw him play at the Paramount Hotel in San Francisco. He would bring people from the early and late 50s, and he did a variety show with his band as a backup. Mm-hmm. And Johnny Otis would do the hand jive.
Right.
And sing
Willie and the
that.
Hand Jive.
Yeah, Willie and the Hand Jive. But other than that, he was a band leader.
Right.
And he's a great marimba player as well.
Oh.
Oh
okay.
yeah, very fast, very fast.
Yeah, I think of some records I
Yeah.
see the xylophone or something.
Double mallet, two mallets in each hand, and,
right,
and jumping
right.
all over it. Mm-hmm. But Shuggy played with his dad's orchestra band, whatever, and they made a series of albums that were really good. They played at the Monterey Blues Festival and made a recording from that people seek out.
I seek out the early his dad's records a lot. I know you have a lot of them. They are really hard to find.
Yeah.
But he had some other artists on those records, like you say.
Well, Johnny
that are
Oates, I
great.
believe, wrote Harlem Nocturne, and that is a classic.
That
Oh
is a
my
classic.
God, I love that song.
That is great. That is great.
That's good.
Okay, our next artist, jumping around, we're doing, getting into The Outsiders. So this is The Outsiders In. And this probably doesn't have a hit
I
on it.
love this.
But
I love this because you're showing right now that somebody wrote their name in like 2-inch letters there.
oh, yeah, this is mine. Yeah, don't forget.
Let me personally destroy this record with a felt tip pen.
Yeah.
Let me just write my name as big as I can.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that this is my record, and if you ever take it, I definitely will be able to prove it's mine.
Or was mine.
It was mine
Yeah.
because
Before
I
it
wrote
started
my
it.
name in a green felt tip pen with a big end on it.
Well, before there was graffiti, there was graffiti.
This is terrible.
Let's put
I'm
it
so against my good sense that you would destroy a record. Right, brand new, you write your name on it in biggest letters you could.
Well,
in your own personal penmanship.
They weren't going to lose it, I
Good
guess.
God.
I don't know. I have lost some records and over the years, and that might have been a way to go. Hey, Bob, that is my record. There's no question about it. Where I remember that happened with the White Album got somewhere disappeared, and I could not stand it. I went out and bought myself another copy that day. This is The Outsiders happening live. This is my favorite Outsiders record. It's got Time Won't Let Me on it. But the thing about this record is they throw a little comedy in there, and this looks like a school gym, right? I mean, the floor is a parquet floor, and they got their amp behind them, and it's just so garage band feel, and they're having fun. You're having fun listening to them having fun, and there's Rhino put out a later version of it. Actually, I don't even think this is the live version. This, I think, is just their greatest hits thrown onto.
But I like all that liner notes. It looks like they got some really good information
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
members of the band and the history.
Yeah, Girl in Love, Help Me Girl, Respectable, all fun tunes, and I just love the record, or the group, or the group. Okay, that was The Outsiders, And our final record for today is the Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
I have to take a pass on this. I don't know anything about this
I
group.
was afraid you were going to say that. You don't remember Jackie Blue?
No.
Jackie Blue? Well, that was their big hit.
Well,
and-
I have a feeling now that you kind of hinted at a lyric there that that I do remember that song.
Mhm.
And again, I've said this many times on videos here with Champ. Hated it.
Hated it. Oh, well.
Was not,
I did
you know,
not-
how
I did
you
not
hear
feel that
something
way.
on the radio and you go, what? There's got to be another channel with something better.
Well, I enjoyed it, and but I don't have much more to say about the Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
Can you imagine getting
I loved
away
it.
with that lady on your cover? Take a good look there, fans.
Maybe it's somebody's mom. I don't
Imagine
know.
you're looking for records in a record store and you come across this label, you just go, let me do you a favor, store owner. Goodbye.
All right. Well, on that note, goodbye. We'll say goodbye.
Good transition. This guy is learning. Have you guys noticed that? He's
Once
really
a-
getting better at this.
Well,
Yeah, I have to hand it to you.
there we go.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Champ out.
Dizzy out, but don't forget to leave me a message. I so much depend on him. I feel like if I don't get a message, nobody cared.
It's rough. It's rough.